So Simon, let's start by looking back at last weekend. How much did that win against Leigh mean to you?
Yeah, big one. Leigh are an informed side. We've been building throughout the year, a few setbacks. We felt confident going into the game. We had a real good week, which isn't always a great indicator of performance, but good week, good to get a couple of blokes back out there. They put in a real good performance. We played a pretty solid 80-minute game, and I think in every game we've gone well and we've completed really high, which it's not always the be-all and end-all, it's what you do with it that matters, but we scored a couple of opportunist tries as well, which is often what it's like in those big games. Yeah, nice to come out the right side of it.
You say about ups and downs, there's ups and downs in the game itself, so how much did that say about the character of your players?
Yeah, that added to the win, obviously. Losing Pricey so early and Johnny's such a pivotal player and would be very important to any team in the competition. Losing him, obviously our captain Caesar, we've got Rapana and so on off the field. I know everyone goes through it, but a lot happened within the game, a lot of shuffles, blokes moving around, and I think they showed the togetherness that has been evident since pre-season and throughout every round and dragged each other through. You could see that in the dying minutes when people are running around when they're absolutely out on the feet, desperate to make sure we didn't concede. And it was an enjoyable one to talk about and chat about after and watch back. But in those moments where you're trying to work out who can we put here, who can we put there, and all that's pretty stressful. But all worth it in the end.
I think John Cartwright mentioned that afterwards about it being a really busy afternoon as a coaching staff trying to work out who went where with injuries, this, that and the other. How quickly during a game do you have to make decisions like that?
Well, we make them when we pick the team. We go through how it might work if we lose a half-back, if we lose a centre or whatever it might be. You go through that. Generally, it doesn't always happen. But in the weekend they came in a cluster and we had to move through them all quite quick. And fortunately, we got a lot of players, and I think some of it is intentional. Blokes who can play different positions and have that bit of versatility, which really helps in the modern game.
And how about you this year? Obviously, this time last year you were in charge as interim head coach, however the phrasing was. How different has it been for you this season?
Polar opposite, to be honest. The environment change. The blokes that are brought in, the support from above, and having a really good set of blokes to work with in our office in there has been really enjoyable this year, which, in stark contrast, the people were still great last year, but in stark contrast in terms of, the environment we were working in, the playing group, where they were at mentally and physically, and all that adversity that was in amongst it. But that's well and truly behind us now. We've made some real positive steps forward, and hopefully those steps continue.
And that mental difference, that mental positivity now around the club, how far does that get you, do you think?
Oh, a long way. Again, it is a stark contrast last year, but still last year we had a lot of loyal fans still turning up in a difficult time, and thankfully when the light was there in terms of the new ownership and all that took over, I think everyone got a little boost from that last year. It certainly carried over after a positive pre-season, and you got some new signings in, which obviously excites people. And that's carried on this year, and our fans have been great this year. I think I must be up there with one of the highest attended teams for the home games, which has been great, and obviously not to forget our away support as well. It's been unbelievable at times. I think Wakey away was a real tight game on a freezing night, and then we had a mad gang over there watching us. Obviously, there's a couple of wins over at Wigan as well, which have been great. There's been a lot to thank our fans for. They definitely have been that extra player pushing us on at times. So
let's get on to your team news, the bits and pieces everybody, I guess, this week really is interested in. Let's start with John Asiata.
Yeah, real sad. So the news came through yesterday. Obviously, with injuries where blokes have to leave the field, you guess they're going to be quite significant. I'm really unfortunate because Johnny's worked so hard. He's really important to our team and group, and unfortunately that'll be him. That'll be him for the season. Significant hamstring injury, which we watched him do his rehab. We saw he went about everything. He ticked every box, and he was more than ready in his first 40 minutes of the weekend. He was unbelievable and showed exactly what we've been missing. Yeah, so far from ideal situation, but that's the game. Unfortunately, the gods, sometimes they're in your favour, sometimes they're not, and we'll see Johnny again in the new season. But yeah, real disappointing one and tough to take after such an absence without him, and a great start from him on his return.
I'm guessing he'll still be part of the team even if he's not on the field.
Oh, 100%. Johnny will find ways to get himself involved regardless, but we'll make him busy. Hopefully get him out there in the blue shirt, not too distant when his leg's okay again, and he can add some value on game day. But he brings plenty to our group. He holds the lads together. A real calming influence on our group, and we need to make sure that's still around us.
Will you use his voice even if he physically can't carry water as such at the moment?
He's missed a significant chunk of this year, and he didn't just sit on the sidelines, sulking. Injuries happen, unfortunately, and the older you are, although they hurt, you tend to get over them pretty well because that's just part of it, and you've got to get on and add some value to your group, and he's done that in the last 10, 12 weeks he's been missing, and we expect nothing different.
And Will Price, how's he?
Another one, which unfortunately not good news. Again, further investigation. He's got a break in his. Last year we were joking about it this morning because of how popular it became at one point, the fifth metatarsal. He's had an injury there before, so that requires a bit more investigation, I think, as to whether it's surgery and such to fix. But to my knowledge, anyway, it's very unlikely we'll see Will. And again, like John, really diligent in his prep, and obviously it's not the recurring injury for Will, but he's put in such a lot of effort to get back on the field, and we're certainly a better team when he's out there. He provides a bit of X factor and speed for us, and it's a loss to our group for the remainder. But in other people's adversity, it's someone else's opportunity, and we've had that mentality all year where the next bloke steps in. You saw young Lloyd jump on the field. I mean, our plan for Lloyd at the weekend was we'll see where we can get him on if the game allows us. He's been great for both the academy and reserves all year, standout performer, and he deserved that opportunity. But we didn't expect to put him on the field after 20 minutes, I think it was, when Pricey left, and he did a great job, and that's what we've come to expect from everyone who steps in. So it is what it is. And unfortunate as it is, we'll have to get on with it.
So what plans have you got to cover them? Obviously, you've got a few players out on loan as well that could potentially be recalled. Yeah,
there's that to look at. We've got some blokes who are touch and go for this week. I think, as always, really, we'll have to name a 21 tomorrow, but we'll be checking on the wounded up until Friday's captain's run session, and then see where we're at. But we've got a tough fixture over there at Saints without question. They're in good form, but I'm real confident that whoever's in those black and white shirts or blue jerseys, whichever one we're playing in, I know they'll do a job.
Still going through your squad, Aidan Caesar, are we likely to see him this weekend?
Yeah, Caesar's trained today. He's obviously had a bit of a shoulder issue, and he looked pretty comfortable to me today. But again, he's another one. We'll see how he looks on Friday and make our definitive choice then.
And the couple of HIAs from the weekend, just bring us up to date. Cade Cust and Liam Watts as well.
Yeah, Custy's good. He passed and returned to the field, which was good. And unfortunately, Watts, he'll be no good for this one either. So there's no games to be played there because he can't go in the squad or anything. So again, it's just another opportunity. For example, Matty Laidlaw, he's someone who's played multiple times this year and never let us down. So again, it'll be the next man in, and we expect them to do a job, and I'm sure they will.
And I'll ask about Lewis Martin. Obviously took a bit of a nasty cut to his head. No lasting damage there, you tell me, but is he okay for this weekend?
Hopefully there's no lasting damage. He's fine. Banged heads. It's probably the first scar he's got. He's probably got many more to come over the years. Did a great job for us. Come up with a great try. He's in great form, and he's obviously getting some rewards for a lot of hard work.
How proud are you to see some of the young lads coming through this year and really taking their opportunities?
I don't really want to take. I won't take any sort of credit, if you like. I think they've earned their opportunities. Last year, obviously, a lot of young blokes played out of necessity, which is good and bad, I suppose. But I do think that exposure last year to playing against men, to seeing what it looked like, there's always pressure when you take the field, but it was a bit of a different pressure last year. They've gone out there last year and I dipped the toe in, if you like, seeing what it's like. They had a good pre-season, and then they've both come out and gone really well, haven't they? They've been going from strength to strength. There's a lot more in them yet. That's the exciting bit for me. I think they're only starting their journeys as players, and that's Lewis and Harvey I'm talking about there. You can throw Davey in there and so on and so forth. But there's so much more improvement in them yet, and they've had solid years and they're competing and learning to deal with men and learning their positions. Obviously, the big beanpoles on the wing, they're relatively new to rugby league. They haven't been playing like a lot of our lads have since the age of 5-6 years old. So they're probably behind in that respect. So to get to where they are at this age is great. But yeah, there's still plenty of lessons to be learned, I'm sure. But there's still plenty of growth in them.
I think it was said as well, was it the full back line at one point were all homegrown, whole lads on at the weekend. It's a real shining light, isn't it, that for this club?
Yeah, how good. That's something that wouldn't have happened for quite a while at this club. And we want to keep going up the table and be challenging for those trophies at the end of seasons. And you can't. I don't think you can do that without having that really good foundation of a good youth underneath. And I know we've had a good system going there, but I think we're in a position now where there'll be a bit more attention put on it, so we can try pull more and more of these young players through. And obviously it helps you when you bring in quality players at the top end that help their development as well. So it's a good cycle to be in. You just got to keep finding them and hopefully at the right times trust them, give them their exposure and see how they go. But yeah, that's something hard to even think about. The back five were all from Hull. That's something to be proud of in itself.
So on to the game and where you are at the moment in Super League. How much is the top six now realistic for you?
Well, with 5 games to go, do we sit 6th at the minute?
Yeah.
Check the table since the game, but we sit 6th, so that tells you it's still in our hands. We've got some tough fixtures, but I think if you look for every team, there's us, Warrington, those above us, Saints and so on, they've all got tough fixtures in amongst. So like most rugby league seasons, there's a lot of twists and turns in the final third, and we just got to do our bit, get our head down and keep plugging away and see where that gets us. And round 27 might be an interesting one this year. It might go down to that game, and that's what we'll keep fighting towards.
How big is it this weekend against St Helens? Obviously both sides with things to fight for.
Yeah, Saints are in great form. They're a big physical team that often overwhelm their opposition. So we have to stand up to that physical part of the game and then play smart because the physical with and without the ball. So yeah, they pose a lot of challenges, lots of threats across the field. They've got a few older heads in that team that are still going real well. Alex Walmsley, Darryl Clark and so on. Then you've got Morgan Knowles, Sailor at the back there, and then those young fellas, Robertson, Wellesby and so on. You keep going. They've got a great team, but I reckon we've got a pretty handy team as well. And we'll take a lot of confidence out of the week just gone. So yeah, we're looking forward to getting over there Friday and see how we go.
I was going to say, could it be won and lost in the forwards? But when you've run through the names there for St Helens, there's strike all over the park, isn't there?
Yeah. And they're another club, a great club who've produced a lot of youngsters. Owen Dagnall's one, another one I can chuck out there. Another one who's come through this year who looks a player. So yeah, we know what to expect with them. But I think our competitive nature that we've nurtured, I suppose, from pre-season, I think that gives us a chance in any game. We'll get ourselves in it and see where it takes us.
Relatively close at the MKM earlier this season. Do you think your away form would pretty much plan out something similar for this weekend?
Yeah, we've been all right on the road, haven't we? So look, yeah, the last game, it were a long time ago now. It feels like a long time ago anyway. So there's changes to both sides and all the rest of it. So we won't worry about it too much. But that game, my memory from that game was we were really poor with our ball control. And our team like Saints, you can't give them cheap possession and field position or that overwhelming style they have. They can really get on top of you and grind you out of the game fast. We hung in on that one. They got us near the end, didn't they? And credit to them. But yeah, I think for us, look after the ball would be the big one and just keep defending for each other like we have been, like the cliffs behind you. And again, take it to late in the game, as most games are now, the big ones. And then see what you can come up with. Hopefully we can have Lewis add another one to his list.
Hey Grix, just dipping back in injuries, please. Jordan Rappener, has he had the all clear this week to play?
I'm pretty sure Jordan's had the all clear, yeah. Obviously there's a series of tests when you have so many concussions close together. So he's done all that. He's trained and looked ready to go, which again it makes really fortunate that he's going to be up for selection when obviously we're missing a couple of blokes as well.
Yeah, massive timely boost that. What about Brad Fash? I think Carty said 3 to 4 weeks. I think this is week 4. Is he pushing to return at all?
Yeah, My understanding, I think it was more than that. Probably a 4 to 6 week injury. He's at 4 weeks, I believe. He looks good, to be fair. He's trained, but obviously that is 4 weeks would be an early return with that injury. So again, he's another one we're going to check on Friday, and then with the medical side, it's assessing risk to Brad, and obviously if you lose someone early and a middle forward as well, it does mess around with your rotation and whatnot. So yeah, again, we'll give them all as long as we can and just make some smart choices on that.
And just dipping back into yourself, and obviously last year you had to front this every single week, and it was tough at times, wasn't it, speaking to us lovely people. But this year, how much better has it been? Just been coaching, and just getting on with a fresh group of lads and just doing what you love to do.
Look, last year was tough. If I could wind back the clock, I might not have agreed to be the one that has to sit in front of the camera and answer the questions, because as much as you're doing your jobs, it was pretty apparent what was happening. Probably on and off the field, but I can only answer your questions a certain way, let's say. So it was pretty difficult. But yeah, this year's been good. It's been fun. Enjoying coming to work every day. It's been as a vastly different environment, definitely. And yeah, not having to do this bit is good at times. I don't mind it, to be fair. It's just the circumstances weren't great last year. I wouldn't have looked happy every week, would I? But yeah. Couple of new coaches to work with and learn bits and pick things up from, and obviously a vast amount of new players and experienced players as well, which in fairness you probably learn as much off them as you do the coaches that are around. So yeah, it's all learning. Last year, this year, it's all the same, just quite a different experience, I think.
Carty then, what's it been like with him? We sort of knew what we were getting from the reputation that he had back in Australia, but what's it been like to have the real thing every day?
Good fun. Good fun to have around, and just a good bloke. I think he's just got a really good feel for the group and what direction to take at the right time, if you like. Yeah, vastly experienced. He's probably seen everything twice, and someone to, pick his brains on stuff. And we talk through a lot of stuff. He's real laid back, and he gives Lasty and myself room to do our bits and pieces in amongst. But we're a pretty good team, I reckon. We sit around and discuss most things. Obviously, Carty's the man who has. He's the one who his name's above the door, and he's in charge, and he has the last call and everything. But yeah, I'd like to think we've got a pretty good team there, and that's along with the S&C staff and medical and whatnot in the background. So yeah, it's been an enjoyable year to date. But we've got 5 weeks of the season, the regular season left, and hopefully I can make it stretch a bit longer.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Last month said he's really enjoying his touchline role, if you like, running on, delivering the messages, and you've got to keep John's counsel up at top, haven't you, and hold the fort. So what's that like? I mean, John's even described it as kicking cans, and you're getting on with the job at times. So what's that process been like?
Yeah, well, it's been funny, to be fair. Sometimes I'm concerned the camera's going to be on me as well as Carty, because the odd time, at the right time, he's given me a few laughs up there, to be fair. But now, as I say, we're pretty tuned into what we want to do on the field. So if Carty is having a bit of a, I won't say a meltdown, because he's never for long. He's in and out of it. It's a roller coaster with him. We kind of know what's happening, but yeah, it's a different experience up there. I've sat with different types of coaches in the past, whether it's been in my work or when I've gone visit different places, and they're all different. But yeah, Carty's definitely emotionally invested on game day. Yeah, so it's a bit different up there, but it's good to see as well. I think that's what people like when they see it at home as well. I mean, I'm probably been a bit of a robot and sometimes not wanting to let the emotion out. It's there, but you just want to think, right, next job, be professional. But I think it's a bit of a refreshing thing to see. He lets people in, I suppose, which is one of his big qualities as well. But yeah, it's been enjoyable. Me and Lasty have a good crack as well over the radios there on game day. So yeah, he's pretty good up close. For the fun stuff and the negative. If there's a microphone up there, there'll be a lot of beeping going on at times.
One for you, maybe. Media team, Marv, Lewis.
I think they tried the GoPro once. It was, that's not happening. Get rid of that.
Brilliant. In terms of the club direction, though, this is year one of what is a big cycle, but the progress that you've all made this year, and obviously the stepping stones that you've made for next year as well, it's all bored in the right direction. You must be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I think we've probably exceeded everyone's external expectations from getting back. and getting into training. Obviously, none of us knew what to expect with so many new people in the room, but pretty clear to see straight away that some of those older boys, they're not come for an holiday. They've come for exactly what they was brought in for, to make the place better and bring some of these younger lads along. They've done a good job with that. So yeah, we're heading in the right direction, aren't we? And again, with 5 games to go in regular season, there's still quite a bit to play for in this one. And again, there'll be a significant change again next year, and hopefully they're further steps forward for us as a club.
Exciting times. I think it's fair to say at this club, on and off the field, which again, it's polar opposite of last year, isn't it? It's refreshing.
Yeah, it's I think last year was obviously a real dire situation and probably magnified because of the size of our fan base. People have said to me, and I don't really have an opinion on it, but certainly don't agree with it now, where Hull's not a big club, it's just a big club because it's got a lot of fans. That was what I'd been told in the past about Hull, but I think when you come on game day now and we have got something to shout about on the field as well as in the stand, I think it's pretty evident we are a big club, or on our way to that table, if you like, with the top teams that have been dominant for a long time. I think we've made some real big steps forward. It's a long way to go, but yeah, I think there's no reason why we can't get there.
It was Andrew Fairclough that made that comment. There's 3 big clubs in Rugby League: Hull, Wigan, Leeds. I'm sure you and Matt would say Halifax in there too, though.
In 1987, they were a big club. There's a lot of big space in between. One day, you never know. You never know. Get them back in. Blue and whites.
Top man. Cheers, Grix.
No worries.
Hi Sam, just in 1987 I had hair, so things do change.
I did too.
You said, picking up a point you said about learning from the coaching staff and some of the players that have come in. How do you think you've developed in your character and your role?
Definitely feel a bit more relaxed this year. The circumstances last year were just alien to me, and it's such a tough battle running a club. I know Adam invested a lot of money and time in the club, but whether we like it or not, the club was under-resourced in a lot of areas for a long time, and last year was as a result of it. And I found myself arriving probably at not the best time, and obviously what happened with Tony and so on and so forth. I ended up in a position I probably didn't really want to be in, but tried to make the most of it. Now, development-wise, probably learning to... One of the big things I think is how much you need to enjoy the good times of it, because that's probably polar opposite. They're the very worst times, but the good times you get used to winning, so that doesn't feel as good at times. So making sure, I think that's one of the big things, enjoying those wins and the good times, I think is important for me individually. But on the rugby side of things, loads of bits and bobs. I think generally most clubs and teams are set up the same. A lot of us play the same plays, but I think Carty's done a real good job of making sure everyone's connected and together, and that stems from above as well, where we've little things. I know it's been said before throughout this year, but eating together and all those things, we didn't have that last year, and it does make a massive difference. And I think the lads are in each other's pockets, and that shows in those moments, such as the final moments of last weekend, where they really are together. So for me, I think, moving forward, when I get a crack again at some point in the future of being an head coach, definitely try and enjoy it more. Even when it's not great, you've got to try and enjoy it. And the other bit, just making sure you set your environment up right, where hard work and mateship goes a long way. You don't need to have the bells and whistles at times, but if you've got that, you're a chance. So that's one thing that'll probably stick with me.
Yeah. And you've just alluded to then maybe in the future, and I hope you've got plenty of time left here at Hull FC, but is that your ambition to have your own team?
Yeah, definitely. I've a lot of people dive in. I got a job by chance really at Halifax, which was great development for me. But I'm happy being an assistant at the moment. When the opportunity comes around, I'd love to have a go at it again and use what I've learned in an environment that's set up for it. I openly say I didn't give the best of myself last year. The circumstances probably didn't allow, as much as the players probably didn't give the best of themselves as well. So I'd love another crack at some point. But in the meantime, I'll enjoy what I'm doing, and certainly I'm enjoying coming to work every day.
Okay. And in terms of Carty, we've seen that emotional side and was talking before the press conference started today. I think he sort of fell in love with Hull FC, hasn't he?
Yeah, he loves it. I think using Carty's words, he's found the NRL games, the league games, to be somewhat sterile. Like, you watch it on TV, sometimes they don't look like there's a great atmosphere. There's a lot of people there, which is obviously brilliant, but the chanting and all the rest of it, there's not as much as that over there, which is what makes our game feel a bit different. And a lot of the grounds we go to, it's a bit closer. They're playing a lot of big games, big stadiums rather, in Australia. So I think he's certainly enjoyed that bit. And he's immersed in Hull. He lives here. He's on his own. He gets himself out and about. He's made some mates in Hull, which is, I reckon, pretty good. He's not just got his rugby family, if you like. He's getting out there and he's really enjoying his time here. And I'm sure it's really good to spend it here with Jed as well.
Great to hear. Spoke to Eamon about the ruggers of the season, if you like. 5 games to go, dare we say, a few more to go after that. Fatigue kicking in for the players and your coaching staff. How, from a coaching side, do you manage that amongst the players?
Yeah, well, I think this year we've been really fortunate. There was a split weekend a few weeks ago now. Most of us got away for a week. We had a week off, freshen up, and between an older squad, we've got some old boys in there who've played a lot of games in big minutes, and obviously the time of season, as Herman said there, it is that time of year where you busted a bit of time where probably freshened everyone up, and now we're back in and ready to go. And that's just a fact of rugby league. Over the year, that accumulative fatigue, all the knocks you get to this stage, and there won't be a bloke who feels 100% anywhere, and rarely anyone does after a couple of games. So I think you just got to bite down and get on with it. I think that's the approach everyone will be taking, and we'll be no different to anyone else. So
in terms of having that quick break, then you're certainly happy that it occurred?
Yeah, it was nice. I haven't been on a summer holiday since I don't know how old I was, 15, something like that, because rugby's just always been there. So it's always been getting off in October at the end of the season. So it was real nice for me individually and my family to get away in the summer, which was rare. It was red hot as well, which I'm not made for the sunshine. Rather than chasing sunshine in October, as we have done for years. So yeah, it was real nice freshen up. Most of the staff got away and did something at least, and I'm sure a lot of lads were off globe-trotting doing their bit as well. And just that little break away from each other. I think I said it last year, you get toward the end, last year we probably were sick of the sight of each other. This year's a bit different. We've got a better feel about the group, but I think you do get to the stage where you probably need that little break. So that's charged us up, ready to go for this little run.
So, and obviously that has an added effect on the quality of rugby being played, not just with Hull, throughout the entire Super League. So thinking about the Magic weekend then, is that maybe an opportunity to scrap that and have 2 breaks during the year?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think any of the wives of the players and coaches should complain, because it is a rarity to get a gap in the season. But yeah, the quality of rugby won't. I think you'll see how tough rugby league players are towards the end of the year when they're all carrying bits and bobs and they still get it done. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it all unfolds.
Thanks, Sam.
No worries.
Cheers.